Wild, Florida. Dr. Narco Longo.
Brought to you by the Florida Department of Magic. Welcome to Florida, baby.
Florida is the original Garden of Eden.
Florida has the highest concentration of freshwater springs in the world.
Florida oranges are the golden apples of mythology. A race of giant men once roamed this peninsula. The Smithsonian can suck my balls.
Florida is littered with many ancient megalithic ship anchors, known as sacks or stones.
I'm bringing Saxa back.
Noah's Ark was constructed out of gopher wood. Gopher wood only grows one place in the world, Florida. Florida is the birthplace of the United States. The first Thanksgiving was in Florida. Let the black drink flow.
Orange man good. Clip his way out of Florida.
What's up, everyone? Hang on. Excuse me. I was just just drinking some water. But
What up? What up?
That went down the wrong the wrong pipe. Maybe the right one. Okay. Give me 1 second here. I just closed the bookstore up. So give me 1 sec. Okay.
Mercury is retrogressing, so these things happen.
I think we're good. So what's up, everyone? Happy Saturday. We are continuing our astrological series here, me and Mike Merlin. And the show's called Casting Couch Astrology because we're casting horoscopes. We are studying the, what else? Casting of Hollywood movies, right? Why do certain people fit certain roles so well? Things like that. So there's all these casting, terminology, fishing, casting, all that. And the casting couch, right? So there you go. But we are continuing our astrology series. First, we did the elements. Then we did the
modalities.
Then we did the rulerships and exaltations. Now we're going to do, I guess, a little bit more visual, kind of. Still going to be big on the phonetics, but we're focusing on the animals, symbols, and glyphs of the Zodiac and the planets. So, most people know astrology, the Zodiac, 12 signs. Most of them have an animal associated with them. Some of them have humanoid figures associated with them. Some of them have objects. And we're also going to dive into the difference between the symbol and the glyph. Because the glyph isn't the same as the symbol or the... yeah. We'll get into some examples. But before we get in too deep, forgive me, my allergies are going. I just drank some water. It's piping hot water. But before we get too deep into it, let's check in with Mike Merlin here. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Hope you are. Hope the chat is as well. First day of Sagittarius season, man. It's a great time. We had great weather out where I am, and I kicked it off. Even though the weather was nice, I made a stew and just very Sagittarian little feast I had, and it's been a great day, man.
Hell yeah. Well, guys, if you aren't subscribed to Mike Merlin, the Wise Wizard, on YouTube, go subscribe to him. Let's go check that out before we get too started.
Thank you for the hat compliment in the chat. I appreciate that.
Gonna wear it every episode?
I may, I'm gonna switch it up around Christmas time with a more apropos hat. I was thinking of a pilgrim hat today, but I'll mix up the hats once in a while, maybe. A man of many hats.
Someone told me they're sending me a fez, so
Nice.
I might have a fez to wear, but soon. That would be cool.
Fezzes are dope.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I finally got my screen up there. Go subscribe to Wise Wizard Merlin or just simply Merlin. There, that's the name of his channel. And here I'm going to drop the link in the chat so you can click on it. There we go. And guys, check out what he's been doing recently. Some great stuff. Scorpio New Moon live stream.
Appreciate that.
Of course. Now, I'm plugging you. I guess I'll plug. Guys, I just did an interview with Jake Shields. So, if you're interested, please go check out my podcast I just did with Jake Shields, where he just released it tonight. It's right there. Boom. Guys, go watch this. Go subscribe to him, watch my interview, repost it, share it. It's pretty spicy too. It's pretty let's just say I didn't hold back too much, okay? Held back a little bit, right? But
it was good. It was genuinely a good interview.
Thank you. Yeah. It was good information that I haven't really put all together in any of my videos yet. So this is a lot of new original info. Columbus, the Civil War, all that. I'm going to drop a link.
The Civil War stuff was really cool, actually, learning like how that money moved around and how, certain people were involved at very high levels. On the Confederate side. It was very, very interesting. The cabinet and whatnot.
Yep. Guys, please go check it out. It's doing pretty well already. But yeah. And all right. With that out of the way, let's get us over here where we normally are. And let's get into it. What are you feeling? Music or no music?
Ooh, I don't know. Whatever the vibe is, I'm good either way.
I like the music.
Music can add some good ambiance. I think Abu Mashar would approve of this.
Sorry, guys. We're looking at the chat now. If anyone wants to drop an orange to say what's up, I'd love to see some oranges in the chat. Let's see who's in here. We got Jillian, Esperanza, Vence Tarot. Good to see you. She makes content, I think.
She had a great stream recently, actually. Like a really good Scorpio New Moon stream.
Go check her stuff out. We got Mars in here. Scribbles. Good to see you. NP.E. What's up? Zachman123. Tiger Lily, of course. Good to see you again. Meyer Buttreeks. Classy name. Long time supporter there as well. Land of Facade. Good to see you. Jillian Rachel. What's up? Barney Boyle. Long-time supporter there. A lot of long-time supporters. Ryan Leonard. Good to see you. Night's Light. What's up? Cherry. Hi. How you been? Owen 22998. Good to see you. Oh, let's do this. Throw the comments up there. There we go. Matzo Ball. Good to see you. You were over at the Jake Shields chat. And thank you, guy. 1913. Fish with Dogs. Derek KC. CJ Trickstar. OG. Gator Tooth. Sub-Zero Carry. Old World Micmac, of course. Good to see you. All right. we'll cut it there. You guys can super chat if you want. You want our attention. But good to see everyone. I'm in good spirits too. But by the way, guys, tomorrow's my birthday. Full disclosure. So if you want any birthday wishes, maybe get them out of the way now, because I don't think I'm going to go live tomorrow. But yeah. What does that make me? Am I first degree or 0 degree? Some of the charts I put in show up first degree. Some of them show up 0 degree.
Well,
go ahead.
That's actually an important distinction, because like the 0 degree is what the ancients used to call the first degree. So like the second degree is like 1 degree through 159. So what is your degree on like modern charts?
I'm putting it in through Astro Theme right now.
Mm-hmm.
Astro Theme's my favorite, by the way, guys.
But yeah,
I think I'm first degree.
Yeah, that makes sense. So you'd be the second degree of Scorpio. Like if it's like because it starts at 0, right? It's 0 degree 1 minute to 0 degree 59 minutes. That's the first degree. So
you mean Sagittarius?
I'm sorry, yeah, Sagittarius. Yeah, my apologies.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. Yo, this soundtrack's fire. Never get sick of this.
But yeah, man, birthdays are a big deal. Solar returns are a big deal. Have you had your Saturn return yet? Or is that
Are
you going?
So.
Okay.
I think so.
Whoa,
I'm
dude.
definitely in it now.
Bro, Peter Shell just gifted 20 Old World Florida memberships.
Peter Shell, he's an OG too. One of my biggest sugar daddies. He's pops in here and there and blesses me. Thank you, Peter, man. Good to see you. Met him once. I think once. Maybe twice. Once for sure. Came into the bookstore, I believe.
Very Jupiterian, that was. Very Jupiterian.
Yes, yeah. His name's pretty Jupiterian.
Yeah, Peter.
But how does that work with the memberships? Do people just like claim them? Does it choose people at random?
Chooses at random. So like it's basically whoever is subscribed and currently watching, it'll gift out 20 to people who don't have it yet, and they'll have it for the next month essentially. So it's like the equivalent of like $100 is what that was essentially on his end. He's very generous. Awesome. Really nice guy.
Thanks, Peter.
And now the chat can drop even more oranges if they so choose, with their free will, of course. Their free will and their free membership.
All right. Astro theme. Astro theme just blocked me for 24 hours. Not even kidding. Just suspicious activity. I don't know why. I didn't do anything. But so I can't open Astro theme up right now. But I'm first degree. I have a friend who's born the day before me, my same year, and he's a Sagittarius. So that pretty much makes me first degree. Some years 23rd is still, I think, 0 degree. I think that might be a leap year thing. I don't know, but all right, let's dive into it. We've been talking for 20 minutes. Jesus, or I guess
that was the intro too.
Or yeah, it was 7 minutes of intro. So, animals, symbols, glyphs, and the Zodiac. Sorry, glyphs of the Zodiac. And the planets. So let's get into it. The Zodiac. A lot of people think of Chinese Zodiac when they think of Zodiac. What connects the Chinese Zodiac and the Western, tropical astrology Zodiac? Well, there's a lot you could say about it, but the main thing is the name Zodiac, meaning animals. Zoo, zodiac, zodia is, I think, the Greek root for like animals, like the animal kingdom, pretty much. Zoo. Let me double check. Zodiac etymology. I've got an interesting side tangent on the real meaning of zodiac, the double meaning. But this is what we need to talk about first when approaching the subject. The name zodiac itself means like a collection of animals. And it includes the humans. So some people like to say, oh, well, the air signs are humanoid, so we always need to kind of set them apart. No, according to the zodiac, it's all animal, and animal doesn't always mean like beast covered in hair too, right? Animal can just mean that which is animated. So you've got most of the zodiac signs being associated with an animal, and there are suggested or kind of proposed animals for all 12 of the signs of the zodiac too. I've got some theories. I'm sure Merlin's got some theories. We're going to talk about what animal goes with what sign of the zodiac, what non-animal symbols go with each sign of the zodiac. And we're also going to talk about the glyphs. The glyphs are not the same as the animals. And then, of course, the planets, which are not signs, they can be associated with animals too. So talking about zodiac, you have the meaning zo, which means zodiakos. It's Greek, meaning little animal sign, circle of animals. Kuklos zodiakos, little circle of animals, or little animal sign. It means animal. Well, how about this? Zodiac, there's another meaning in there. Zo means 2. Dia means 10. Zodia means 12. It's the 12 system. It's splitting nature up into 12 sections. That's the second meaning of zodiac. So it means 12. Now, why do I love to talk about that? Because people love to say, oh, the 13 signs of the zodiac and this and that. No, that's not a zodiac. That's some constellation thing. That's some other thing. It's not the zodiac. Zodiac is inherently 12 by nature. There's a 12ness to the zodiac. So right there, the name contradicts, or it precludes. Is that the right word? Precludes. Yeah. It precludes the association of 13 signs of the zodiac. So 2 plus 10, and then the animals. There's zodiac. That's just the meaning of the word zodiac and an alternative meaning. Now, I've been chatting a little bit. Do you want to go from 1 to 12 and just kind of explain what the conventional animal or symbol of the signs are in order? Then we can kind of dive into them one by one.
Sure. Nice. Yeah. So, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it is the ram. And just real quick, the ancients, this comes from Guido Bonatti. He claimed that the ancients chose the ram to symbolize Aries because it is a strong animal. And then the second animal is the bull, and the bull is stronger than the ram, and the heat of the sun is stronger in Taurus than it is in Aries. So, there's so much depth to these symbols. The third sign is Gemini, the twins, symbolized by 2 pillars. And those twins are Castor and Pollux. There's a doubling of heat, like from Pisces to Aries, and then from Aries to Gemini, the heat doubles, or at least it feels doubled, and Gemini is all about doubling and twinning. And then you've got Cancer, the crab, as the 4th sign. the first water sign. And then Leo, the lion. And the 6th sign is Virgo, the virgin. The 7th sign is Libra, the scales or the balance. The 8th sign is Scorpio, the scorpion. Scorpio, however, you know what? I'll hold off on that. We said the traditional sign, so we'll just go with that. So Scorpio, the scorpion. Sagittarius, we are now in Sagittarius season. Longo's sun sign. Sagittarius is the centaur, really the archer, but he is a half man, half beast. He's a centaur. The 10th sign is Capricorn or Capricornus, which is the goat, or as we'll talk about today, the sea goat. The 11th sign is Aquarius. It's another human sign. It's the water bearer. And then finally, you end with the twin fish, Pisces, the fishes, and that is the 12th sign of the zodiac, the finale.
Real quick, Merlin, does your graphic here scroll down at all?
No, this is just like a little intro page. My next one, it'll just go straight into Aries from here. So like, it's just kind of going, so it doesn't scroll down. Yeah. Sorry.
No, but this is fine.
This is a preview of the art to come. You guys are gonna see some art today. All of these depictions here. This is art created by a man named Sidney Hall, who lived from 1788 to 1831. So this is good, old school astrological art. You'll see some stuff from Martin de Vos, who lived from 1532 to 1603, and then we'll talk about the tarot cards from A.E. White, the tarot writer, tarot deck, and then possibly more on top of that. So.
This is your friend, Saturn Rooster, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah. He's another excellent channel to check out, in my opinion.
Sure, yeah.
We linked up through your channel. Like, he's a fan of you as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. We should have him on sometime as a guest.
Dude, when it comes to like old world stuff, especially if you want to go like old world Florida, he's all into looking at these ancient megalithic sites and making the connection between them and astronomical observations. His mathematics are incredible. High recommend for a guest.
You guys hear that? Go check out Saturn Rooster.
There are so many cool people like in the orbit of old world Florida that like make their own content. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like they're genuinely like that. Like, like everyone's cool, man. Everyone's smart. Everyone's a piece of the puzzle.
Saturn Rooster said he had the breakthrough of his life 72 hours ago. So
let's go, dude.
Something in the works. So yeah, Merlin summarized the 12 signs and their general traditional kind of Western symbol, right? Most of them are animals. I'll run through them real quick. Also, well, no, I'll just say with Sagittarius, some people say centaur, horse. We can just say horse. It can be the archer by itself too. You see that sometimes, It doesn't have to be the archer with the horse combined, right? That's just convenient. You can slap them both together. But what that actually is doing is it's combining the glyph. So that's an example. The glyph for Sagittarius is the arrow. That's not the traditional symbol of Sagittarius. The traditional symbol of Sagittarius is the horse or the centaur, right? That's its animal. And the bow, yeah, there's nothing wrong with having the bow in there too, but that's the distinction between glyph and symbol. The arrow can always be in the symbol, but you don't see the animal represented in the glyph. So, but in Aries, you do see it. So here, let's go through those real quick. Do you have any of the glyphs?
Yeah, it's basically I've got a splash page for all of them that looks just like that, pretty much.
Cool. We'll just go sign by sign and explain the difference. So starting with Aries, the first sign of the zodiac. Aries is the ram. It can also be the sheep. It can also be the lamb. So ram, lamb, sheep. right? And ram, lamb. Shout out to Santos Bonacci. He can prove to you that that's the same word, depending on how you're using your tongue, depending what language you're speaking. Ram is lamb. Sheep. Not many people realize ram and sheep, same animal. Believe it or not, some people don't understand that. But ram, lamb, sheep, first animal of the zodiac. The glyph for Aries is the ram's head. It's like the skeletal stick figure of the ram's head and its horns. So it's like a V shape. So you'll see the glyph there in the top left, as opposed to the animal itself. And in this case, the glyph is the animal. No issue there. Anything you want to say? Like the stuff you got written down there?
Oh yeah, I mean, so it's just like Santos Bonacci says, and you mentioned, like the letters R and L are interchangeable, and just cool things about that. The English language is so beautiful. L is the 12th letter, R is the 18th letter. So there's divisors of 6. 6 plus 6 is 12, and then 6 plus 6 plus 6 is 18. And your R and your L, they can both be rolled, right? I can't do it, but like you can roll your R's and your L's.
Me neither.
And
I heard only low caste people can roll their R's.
Hey, that's a Castor and Pollux reference.
Dude, that's another cast system. That's pretty good.
Indeed.
Zodiac and the caste system.
Yeah. And ram in Italian is Ariete. So like literally Aries is in ram,
right,
in Italian. There's so many linguistic connections to make.
Yeah, and the Igni or Agni root. Ignacious, burning, fiery, right? Then Agnello, Agni, Igni, Acne. Very Aries coded, right? Acne, red in the face. Something coming to a head. Not to be gross, but you see the phonetic root. Acne, Agni, Igni, Ignatius, burning, like the peak. Acme, too, with an M, meaning the peak. But
screen's back up.
Thanks.
Sorry about that. Oh, whoops. And yeah, and guys, even with just the word ram, well, what planet rules Aries? Mars. What's ram backwards? Mar. So it's right there. But then also Mars is a malefic. So if you switch that R and the L, you get mal, which means bad. And Aries can be a bit of a bad boy, can't he? So
totally,
it's all there. Also,
cord can mean a lot of things, but court can mean to cut, or to cut short, to make small. Like in German, we have kurz, which means smaller or shorter. And Karn, like Merlin was saying, there's carnal, there's meat, right? Carne, this red, bloody, right? That's all very Aries coded too. And just real quick on the acne, I wasn't saying that Aries necessarily get more acne, but Mars, who rules over Aries, is also the planet that rules over acne. Where Mars is, there will be redness and inflammation in the body. So Aries is very hot and fiery. And people don't think of sheep or rams as being combative, but man, they really are. Ramming, people know rams are pretty combative, but again, they forget lamb and sheep. This is all the same creature, right? Would you say the doe is the deer? The doe is ferocious and valiant, and no, that's a matter of male versus female, right? You see, there really are a lot of people who are just dumb and think like sheep, like there's male and female sheep, there's male and female, and that sometimes that's the case. Or sometimes some varieties, the females have horns as well. That we see that in some cows, we see that in some oxen. So, but people forget that this is all like the same class of animal. And lamb's just a matter of age, right? Like development. So the ram is extremely violent and valiant, headstrong. They bust into things, ram into things with their heads. You also see the word ram and ramp, right? Aries, people ruled by Mars, are some of the most daredevilish people. They like to ramp things up, like energetically. They also, sometimes you'll see them jumping off ramps, literally and metaphorically. Aries are daredevils. They can be foolish, right? Because when you're leading with your head, literally, like, you know, you're doing first, thinking later. You're rushing in head first, right? That's like the definition of foolishness, right? And you'll see we have April Fool's Day in Aries. So that's just one little kind of cool connection. And yeah, arid, so Aries, arid means hot and dry. Arid. Aries, arise. We've gone through that before. But all of this ties in together, right? And anything you want to say before we move on?
I mean, yeah, you mentioned carnal. Aries can be quite horny. The goat or the ram has the horns, and yeah, and it's also springtime, guys. Never forget, like, astrology is as seasonal, as above, so below. So this is the time of the year when the animals start, procreating. That's more so in Taurus, because that's a very fertile sign. But the birds and the bees do start buzzing around in Aries, the start of the springtime. So there is that as well.
Yep. Well, I guess that's all. That's most of what can be said about Aries and the animal. We should have symbolic studies on.
He's great, man. Mario.
Soon. Yeah,
he's really good.
He probably could have added a ton to this, but Aries, the animal. Some people have proposed, maybe we should save this for later, but since we brought up Mars a little bit, some people talk about the wolf being associated with Mars. Does that ever come up for you, Merlin?
I think Mars does rule wolves. It's a yeah.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting is in the Bible, it says the wolf will lay with the lamb. People think it's the lion and the lamb. It's really let me check this. At least in the King James Version. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid. So Aries, you kind of see through its planet, Mars, perhaps being represented by the wolf, one of the animals associated with Mars. Just to bring it to the Bible real quick, in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 6, which when you flip it is 9/11. Okay, and this is one of Jesus is all about Isaiah. Some, the phonetic root of his name may even have a root in common with Isaiah. In the Quran, they call Jesus Isa. So Jesus is pulling on a lot of threads that Isaiah was kind of weaving together. And in Isaiah 11:6, flip it upside down, 9/11. People say that might have been Jesus's birthday, which is why they stained it with the 9/11 attack. So that's all we'll ever think about going forward. I don't know. I don't really care about Jesus's birthday too much, believe it or not. I've heard compelling arguments for a lot of different birthdays, but yeah, we have this prophecy in the Old Testament that seems that Jesus talks about a lot, where you have the wolf coming together with the lamb, right? And we're not going to talk about the Bible too much, but people always mistranslate it or misremember it. And they blame it on the Mandela effect. They say, the lion will lay with the lamb. That's not what it said. That's not what it ever said. That's a mistranslation. I don't think that's a compelling Mandela effect. But basically, that is what people say. Some people say.
And
You ever hear
no, I've not actually. I was gonna add that if you said this, I apologize, but ram in Spanish is carnero, but again that's carnage. Words like carnage come from that, and that's very Aries. Very Mars. I'd say Aries is more martial than Scorpio is equally martial, I'd say, but it's that really, like you were saying, headstrong. Like if you're thinking of warriors rushing into battle, you want Arians 100%. You want Aries types. They'll be the first ones to charge in. Some maybe foolishly, but we need that. Like literally, bravery. We all have different levels of bravery, and some people are more brave than others. And Aries people are very brave, almost to a fault, but it's also a huge strength for them because they're excellent fighters. They are excellent in martial arts, stuff like that.
Right.
They're fantastic in that regard.
Well, they, air quotes, people like to say, oh fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, here. Since we're talking about the roots, and you just brought up a good one, carnage, carne, right? Carnero, inferno, okay? You see that inferno root. And then you see infant, the same root. Aries is the first sign. It rules infancy. It rules being not a toddler, a baby, newborn baby. Also a babe. What animal is a babe? Is that a pig or a lamb?
I think babe is a pig.
Okay, so scratch that.
But
Filipino editor team. Hey, editors in the Philippines, guys, just trim that section out real quick. Thanks.
That won't be in the final cut.
No.
But Aries also does represent sacrifice as well, and some people sacrifice newborn babes, very, very sick people. But that is, infant sacrifice is a thing that's been around pretty much forever. And Aries, again, like the Lamb of God is sacrifice, right? This sign is sacrifice. That's why they rush in head first. They're willing to sacrifice their own lives to protect others because their ego demands it. Their impulses demand it.
Mm. So let's move on. Let's move on from Aries.
Did you want to go with the tarot cards a little bit, or like not at all?
It would be good, but at the pace we're going, I don't think it's super necessary or relevant right now.
I included like a little bit about the planet after each of the first ones that it rules. You want to talk about like Mars at all, or not really?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about Mars. Mars.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, so up here, guys, you just see like the two signs that Mars rules traditionally, which is you got Aries on the left over here, and then Scorpio over here. And what's interesting, this was like a 1500s engraving, and this sign for Scorpio is not really the sign we use today. So that's at least interesting right there. And then you'll see 6 more of these guys. There's one for each of the traditional planets, and what's happening on the field below down there is kind of typical of the planet. So like in this, it may be hard to see, I apologize, but there's battle. Like down here, there's a guy stabbing someone else down there. a lot of fighting going on, and then people just wielding weapons over there. Very, very martial stuff happening beneath Mars there. And you were going to say what about Mars?
Well, just that, Mars, some of the animals that people have associated Mars with, the wolf, for sure. What else? What other animals do people associate Mars with?
I got it right here. All right, Mars. We got horse. Interesting. Horse, tiger.
Oh, yeah. And because it's an instrument of war.
That makes sense.
It's the deadliest animal. It's the most murderous animal. Horses are. Yeah.
In the depiction down there, we've got men on horses right down there to kind of solidify that a bit.
Now, we're definitely going to have to do a show on the runes because there is a connection between Mars and Sagittarius. That's why the tarot is so important, and that's why the runes are so important. They explain astrology. Astrology only leaves so much room to kind of explain itself from within. Like the Zodiac provides all of its own context to explain itself with. And it's wonderful. But with tarot, you have so many more avenues of explaining things and kind of, it's so visual. You can kind of lay everything out on the card. The runes do the same thing. The runes, especially since I love the phonetics and the etymology, the runes go to the heart of this kind of phonetic, these word games. And it explains how certain sounds are associated with astrology, with each sign of the zodiac. And for the horse, Sagittarius being the horse of the zodiac, Mars being the horse of the planets, potentially. The connection there is warfare, like Merlin was saying. But also, the rune for Mars is the T rune for Tyr. And in the runic astrology rune system, the Mars rune is in Sagittarius, the T. And that's why the arrow is the same barb in the barb of Mars. Where Mars is, there's a barb, right? The V kind of almost looks like a sharp point, and yeah, exactly. Yes, that's perfect.
That's Sagittarius up top, Mars in the bottom. And yet, dude, I say we just go slow. Like, we can do a few weeks on the symbolism, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can hit the tarot and like do like a few signs each week, in my opinion. Just throwing it out there.
No, it's not a bad idea. If
No
anything, we
should rush it.
Well, we don't have to rush it, but we can just think about how we want to organize it. I already made the thumbnail on this one, animals. So I think we should just try and speedrun animals. And as much as we want to talk about all this other stuff, it's hard, but let's try and get through all the animals of the 12 signs and all the animals of the 7 planets at the very least.
Okay.
Because we're already almost an hour in. What do you think?
That's fine by me. Yeah, I'm good either way, Like we'll rock it out either way.
Okay. Cool. Taurus is the second sign, and it is the bull. Now, I had a dispute with someone in the comments like a couple days ago who says, Taurus is not the cow, it's the bull. And that's okay. That's fine. But if someone says the cow, there's nothing wrong with that either. Because cow is just a female oxen or a female bull, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Taurus is a female sign. The fact that it has horns does not determine the gender of Taurus. Taurus is inherently female. Everything about it is feminine, receptive, passive. That's its nature. It's an earth sign. The water and earth signs are the receptive signs, And basically, like I said earlier, many oxen, species of bull, cow, both male and female, have horns. So it doesn't really matter. And it would be, I think it's a little bit foolish to say Taurus is a male bull. It's got to be the male bull. But whatever. Horns you can find on male and female oxen sometimes. Taurus is the bull. Taurus is probably like it's the most undisputed animal association. Taurus is the bull. Always is, always will be. I don't think any ancient civilization ever had like an alternative interpretation of Taurus. Again, Mario from Symbolic Studies could probably correct us on that. I'm sure he's found some out there Taurus symbolism, but in the phonetics we see the same thing. Toro, Taurus, right? Restaurant, right? Eating and resting. We've talked about that before. You see the bull, Taurus, Bible, Torah, Bible, Torah, tarot backwards is Torah too. But Taurus is the bull. It's the cow. However you want to look at it. We've got all the info there. Bovine, cow, toro, vaca. Some good roots there. Bovine, same root as buff, like buffalo, buff. Ovary too. You're like this. Fallopian. Taurus rules the female reproductive system. You have uterus, vagina, like Dr. Evil. Is that Dr. Evil? Vagina.
Oh, that was just Austin Powers. A lot of vagina.
Yeah. You've got vagina, uterus. Hang on, guys. I don't know my genitalia too well, but no, I'm an expert actually. Just kidding. You've got vagina, vaca is the root. Vac, vaca, right? Ovary, bovary. Fallopian tubes, buffalopian tubes. Uterus, uterus. Guys, bull, 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 cow, cow, cow. Boom. Exactly. And there's a lot more, okay? I'm a doctor, okay? I minored in gynecology, but it's not my expertise. So there's some parts I probably still don't know about up in there, but they can be associated with the bull. Every part of the female reproductive area. Hell yeah, that's a great compliment. That's high praise. Thank you. God bless Donald Trump. President Donald Trump. So, what do you want to say about Taurus and the animal?
I would just say this. I think this is the most fertile.
Real quick, yeah, you did a good job of describing the qualities of like how the bull just symbolizes that sign. You did that pretty well for Aries. I think I neglected that.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, like just the same thing here, right? Because like this is the most fertile sign, both in seasons. Like this is when the flowers and everything are springing to life. The earth is literally fertile. This is the first earth sign. But like, and then to get a little bit lewd, right? Like when it comes to sexuality, like cows are associated with milk, mother's milk. And then like the archetype of the cuck, if somebody's getting cucked, they're getting cucked by the bull. So that's like the male side of Taurus. And then the cow is the female side. So like they're both very, very sexual, both the cow and the bull. Even to like the myth of the Minotaur, right? Like how the Minotaur was created. Like didn't like a bull just fucking go to town on some chick and like she gave birth to some monster, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, super hypersexual, and that goes along perfectly with the time of the year when everything is really, really springing to life. You know, the sun is hot, you know, people are getting hot outside, maybe hot in the bedroom, and that's Taurus, that's the bull. And like the word vaka for cow is funny because like if you describe somebody as bovine, it's not a compliment. Like you don't be described as bovine, right? That's like kind of dim. And not to like mock Taurians, right? Because your Mercury, if you're Taurus, your Mercury could be in Gemini or Aries or Taurus. So like it's not necessarily, they're just not known for like intellect. It's more mood because again, the moon exalts here. So Taurus is more mood driven. That's why you get like, you know, eating based on the mood and things like that. But like the word vaka, like if someone has a vacant look, that would also be a bovine look, you know, a little bit of a dimness. No offense, Taurians, but that's just kind of, if you're pure Taurian, that is what it is. But Shakespeare had a ton of Taurus in his chart. So like there's a lot of beauty there as well.
The fake one.
Yeah, I mean, if you take that.
Here, I think it all makes sense though with the Shakespeare thing because they say the people who knew him, like he was not that sharp. He like could like barely scribble his own signature. Seriously, go look at Shakespeare's signature.
I was laughing at the chart. Somebody said like big mommy milkers, and that's like a very Taurian phrase, you know.
And also, just real quick, Taurus rules like the material world. It rules matter. Maya. May is Taurus. Maya is May. It's Taurus time. Taurus is the world. You know, it's like this is the material world being whirled together with a WH, whirlwind, together in the Taurus field that we get matter out of, right? It's like the cosmic egg, fertility, creation story. That's in the Bible too, by the way. The Torah, right? Same concept. And the material world, which is matter, which is the mater, the mater, the madre, the mother. Taurus is the material matter, Maya. It's the real world, the material world, right? So Tauruses can be very vain, materialistic, right? They can be kind of mean girls type. But the bowl symbolizes the material world. It feeds and nourishes all. It's not to be lewd, but it's poop. You know, its waste blooms forth life. Like it oozes fertility. Its milk nourishes many, many people. Even its like most seemingly destructive or like nasty act is by many cultures, especially India, all your wise wisdom, India. Yes, keep smearing the poop all over your face and this and that. Yeah, guys, amazing culture, such rich traditions. And yeah, we don't condone the poop smearing, but let's be honest, okay? Cow dung is so useful. Okay, that's not an Indian thing. It's just fertile. If you like your mushrooms, you're going to hack reality and hack the matrix with the Maya illusion by taking the mushrooms that grow out of the dung of this animal. So you have the whole material world and its matrix system escape route all packaged in this one animal. That's Taurus. That's Maya. Okay. That's May. That's Maytime. And the Taurus, the bull, also represents financial stuff. Not necessarily like Pisces. Pisces is very financial too. The fin of the fish. Financial. But we see the bull of Wall Street, right? The material world. The material bull, matter. Mammon, right? Mammon is what, you know, Freemasons have this concept they talk a lot about. Mammon. That's like the material world, like the splendors and trappings of material world, right? And bulls, cow, big, nourishes a lot. It's like the world. It's like Earth. And also Earth, Terra is Earth. Torah, Terra. Terra is like the female version of Toro, right? And Earth is Terra, and Terra, you can stretch it. It's almost like an anagram. The heart, plane, planet Earth, Terra, terra firma. It's like the solid material world. Terra firma. Anything else before we move on?
Yeah. One last thing is, what sound do cows make, children? They go moo.
Ooh.
What's moo backwards? Well, it's ohm. And ohm, in case you don't know, is a measure of resistance for electricity, right? So you've got your volts, you've got your amps, and you've got your ohms. So ohms are how you measure resistance. And I mean, what's more stubborn and resistant than a cow or a bull that does not want to move? That dude will not move unless it wants to, unless you can lead it away some other way. So yeah, just like ohms are how you measure the resistance in an electrical circuit, and that is literally moo backwards. And of course, the Santos goes into that, is that moo, om is the sound of meditation. That's the vowels ended by an M. I, om. That's literally, so cows make that backwards. And yeah, that's what I would say on that.
Yeah, and also on the runes, real quick. The same thing with Sagittarius. There's a Jupiter association with Taurus that is not really well understood unless we use the runes to explain it. The runes, the TH rune for Thor shows up in Taurus. Isn't that interesting? So that's why you see Tor, which is often a name for Jupiter, sharing a phonetic root with Taurus. So that's why I like to say Taurus. So Jupiter rules electricity. And ohms, I would imagine, too, Jupiter, But
yeah. Taurus
All
will
right.
be the other end of that. Yeah.
Let's move on to Gemini.
Right on. Oh, do you want to talk about Venus at all, or nah, just go straight to Gemini?
Let's just go straight to Gemini.
All right.
We'll revisit the planets if we make it to them at the end.
For sure.
Gemini, excuse me, guys. I've got a cough here. Gemini, the twins. I was smoking cigars last night. Inhaling them a little bit. Living dangerously. But Gemini is the twins. Third sign of the Zodiac. And interestingly, it's an air sign. And notice that it's humanoid. So this is not an animal. It is Gemini, the twins. Now that's a symbol of the Zodiac. Maybe not an animal per se. But the glyph, you kind of see a little bit of twinning going on in the glyph, right? What do you see the glyph as? Do you know what the object of the glyph is?
Like it's objective, or like you mean like the twin pillars of Hercules, like that kind of connection?
Okay, so that's what you see there. Twin pillars in the middle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that would be a good one to ask Mario. The alternative. The origins of the glyphs. But essentially, excuse me, guys. The origin of the twins, you see, we talk about Gemini bipolarity, right? Twin pillars, polarity, two poles on either side. Go drive into Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Trump's place, and you'll see two kids like swinging on a pole. I'm reluctant to say dancing on a pole or holding on pole, but it's like two young like cherubs holding onto a pole. It's like a bipolar. It's very Gemini coded, the entrance to Mar-a-Lago. Now, well, here, let's talk about this. It's humanoid, it's an air sign, but is there an animal? Are there proposed animals? Yes, there are. I wouldn't say that there's one that kind of is more proposed than the others, but I will say that Gemini, when people try and list it with an animal, they almost always choose a bird. Almost always. Whether that's the ibis of Thoth, who is Mercury, or whether it's like a mockingbird or a parrot or like a raven with Odin, for example. Odin has the raven. And go look at mythology, you'll see all the animals, every culture is associated with these planets, these gods. But Odin, who is Mercury, sorry, neo-pagan LARPers, Odin is not everything, or, well, you know, in the Bach saga, they say Odin is a ring, Odin is everything. So, you know,
The All-Father.
I'll try and be careful there. But Odin is not all the gods. Odin is not the supreme deity in the planetary system. Odin is just Mercury. Now, what happened was in the northern cultures, they put a bigger emphasis on Mercury. And then you also have Wotan, who's pretty close to a Saturnian archetype. Odin, Wotan. But if we go to Odin, you see a raven. It's a bird. A talking bird, because Mercury rules communication, knowledge, education, you know. So it's almost always a bird. A parrot. Here's a good one. A parrot, I think, is one of the best animals to propose for Gemini. I'll tell you why. Gemini's the twins. Well, parrot, let's pair it up. We need two, one for each. So we'll have a pair of parrots, maybe. Parrot, there's two. So right there, you see a connection to Gemini. Then to parody something is to like mock it or to mimic, which is a mercurial activity. Now, how do we drill this point home? Parrots sit on what part of your body? Your shoulder. Ruled by Gemini. The two twins. That's Gemini. And the you know, ravens can sit on shoulders too. That's okay. Talking birds, Gemini. So there's your alternative animal. If you really want an animal for Gemini, I'd probably pick the parrot or a talking bird. What do you think, Merlin?
I agree completely. And yeah, according to Astrology for Initiates by Pappas, you know, Mercury does rule parrots. It also rules magpies, linnets. There are a lot of folk tales where linnets tell a story, and that's very mercurial. Rules butterflies and swallows. So yeah, you know, parrots perfect, you know. And again, like parrot, I say, you say, parrots can learn. Gemini rules, you know, I'd say, well, Mercury rules intellect, but what Gemini is, the two pillars are also, you know, reason and intuition combined, and that is Gemini entirely, is reason plus intuition. So yeah, I think parrot's perfect as a animal alternative for the twins.
Yep. Gemini, almost always a bird if there's an animal associated with it. Let's move on.
Sure.
Just go to Cancer.
Cancer the crab.
Cancer is the crab. Sometimes it's the lobster. Sometimes it's a beetle, a scarab beetle. Sometimes it's things like that. What's interesting is the 69. Oh crap, we didn't do that for, or no, I guess we did. We talked about the glyph. We didn't really overtly state anything about the glyph for Taurus, but that's okay. The Taurus, it's intuitive. It's just the bull's horns.
Yeah, bull horns, yeah.
We talked about Gemini a little bit, the glyph. The animal for Cancer is the crab. That's the most universal, the crab. The glyph for Cancer is 69. That's the glyph. So when you see the royal arch, the archway in masonry, and 69's at the top of the arch, how do we make sense of that? Because when we look at an astrology chart, 69 Cancer is at the bottom, the very bottom of the chart. Well, here's just a little interesting thing. In Florida, did you know we have a thing called the crab spider? The crab spider. And it makes archways. It makes arches over walkways. Isn't that interesting? So Florida is the land where the crab hangs above your head, like the Masons teach and promote. So pretty interesting. But 69 is, you see that at the top of the arch. Why is it at the top of the arch? Really? Because it's summer. It's high summer. You know, it's the kingdom of kingdom of heaven. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Crabs hold the most young, I think, of any animal, or they're up there for one of the most fertile animals, meaning they produce the most young per one mother. I think it's like 1 million. Like 1 million babies for each crab.
Sounds expensive.
Yeah. Well, you see, the mud crabs are the ones that have the most kids. Okay.
Oh God.
The blue crabs are known to have a more reasonable amount of kids. They wait a little longer to have kids. The mud crabs have a big problem with not taking responsibility for their kids, not claiming their kids, losing their kids, not, a lot of gang violence in the mud crab community. You guys ever play Skyrim?
Yeah.
Mud crab attacks.
Oh yeah, those little fuckers are dangerous by the river.
Yeah. Mud crabs are notorious for
very aggressive.
Oozing out young by the millions. But that's true. Crabs, how many babies do crabs have? A female crab can have anywhere from tens of thousands to several million babies per year.
Dang.
I was right. Millions of babies. Come on, Shaniqua.
But why have millions when you can have thousands?
We're actually kind of approaching a serious topic here on the whole EBT. It's like snap shutdown. Why are some of these single mothers eating like stone crab legs on their EBT cards and all this? Whatever. Okay, we won't. All right, Filipino editing team, just cut that last 2 minutes out. All right, and action. So the crab holds the most young of any animal. Animals that we know about, I guess. I'm sure there's some microscopic fucking lame animal that has more babies, but crabs have like the most animals, have the most babies. They bear the most young. So that's what you'd expect, because Cancer is the sign that bears young the best, make the best mothers. They love motherhood. They can pump out kids. They're, associated with the breast and big breasts and, nourishing, a mom who has plenty of milk, plenty of calories, plenty of baby, accommodating qualities. That's Cancer. Crabs sidestep. Cancers sidestep. They have a hard time facing their problems head on, like a Taurus. They love to sidestep, walk backwards. Crabs are known for walking backwards, sideways. rarely forward. They pretty much can only walk sideways, a lot of them. What else?
The sun symbolizes that too. So you mentioned like a few things about the constellations, so one of the deacons of Cancer is actually, well, it's got the Ursa Major and Ursa Minor. So talking about being close to the throne of God, if the north is the throne, north once again is an anagram for throne. You give it Thron and a hard O, you have the word throne. That's Polaris. So Cancer literally rules Polaris. So while what's interesting is the sun is like when the sun reaches the Tropic of Cancer, the first minute of Cancer is as far north as the last minute of Gemini. So Gemini and Cancer are, as far as the sun is concerned, like equally far north. But Cancer, the deacons, are way farther north than the Gemini deacons, and that's why Cancer is that true north, the real glory of God. And of course, that's when we start getting the midnight sun in the northern hemisphere happens during Cancer. But I guess to bring it back to the animal, though, the 69 is like the crab, like the crab's hands can kind of come together a bit and make that 69 symbol too. So, and again, that's a very protective thing. Crabs are protective, as a good mother should be. And like the chest protects the next sign, your heart, the vital organs. So like the crab shell on your chest protects everything inside, and thank God it does. And crab in Spanish is cangrejo, so like right there is a more like Cancer etymology, just like very easily in
Right.
there.
Totally. Yeah. Did you want to say anything about the unicorn?
Yeah, I don't know where I heard this, but like I heard that another alternative animal for Cancer is the unicorn. And I think the reasoning was that if Capricorn is the southern, declination of the sun, then Cancer is the northernmost declination of the sun. So like both of the corns are at each end of the tropics. And what animal is more mythical than the unicorn, right? So like if the unicorn was anywhere, it's probably the North Pole. If there's still a unicorn alive somewhere, it's probably hidden up in Hyperborea, and we got to go find it someday. So that's all I would say about that.
I've never heard of the unicorn with Cancer, but I know it's sometimes associated with Capricorn, of course. Capricorn. Sometimes that goat has a unicorn's point. The sea goat often has a unicorn horn. And that's the same axis with Cancer, so Capricorn, Cancer. But yeah, crab.
Someone in chat mentioned Cancer's bitch about everything. It's like, well, yeah, they can be quite crabby. So, absolutely.
Also, thank you for bringing that up. The dog. Cancer is associated with dogs. So if you don't like using crustaceans or insects or like little reptiles as full-blown animals for the zodiac, if you want a warm-blooded animal, well, the dog would be associated with Cancer. I'd also throw out a couple more, either the dog or Taurus, the tortoise. Wait, tortoise or turtle are associated with the moon, so we're going to get to those. But, dude, and the Taurus beating the rabbit in the race, having to do with the lunar cycle.
Yeah.
You heard about this?
Yeah, the rabbit and the hare? Or the rabbit and the hare. Tortoise and the hare. Yeah, the tortoise and the hare. Yep.
Yeah. Tortoise and the hare.
And that's another shelled animal. So again, it's got that protective shell, just like a crab has a protective shell.
Mm-hmm. But it's about how it's like the sun and the moon. The hare is like the sun. The turtle's the moon. And it seems like the moon is slow, but it's actually extremely fast. Right? It seems to be creeping slowly, and you think the sun is... But the moon's actually faster. From the astrological Ptolemaic geocentric view, we see moon as the fastest planet. Mercury's second fastest. Meaning how fast do they go through the zodiac? So Taurus, or the turtle, is a lot faster than we think. But let's see. So yeah, it's worth mentioning the tortoise, and the turtle, but that's more of a lunar thing, so we'll get to that a little later. Cancer, we see the same phonetic root as canine. In fact, Cancer, the zodiac sign, is associated with Canis, the constellation. Canis, the constellation, has Sirius in it. There's Canis Minor and Canis Major. Sirius is in Canis. Sirius is the brightest star. It's also associated with some dark things, but it's the dog star. And so the dog star is in Cancer. Cancer is the same root as canine. And yeah, so the dog, especially the house dog, the dog that stays at the home, that protects the house, guard dog, right? Things like that.
Protect the family, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And everyone's met a good dog where it's like a second mother to the house, But okay. Good comment there from Ryan Leonard with the 199 tip. Says Taurus, the bull, tar equals bull, and Rus equals red. Good one. Red bull, Taurus.
Yep.
Totally. Red heifer, too. All right. Let's move on to
Leo the lion.
Yes. Leo the lion. Let's say this. Leo can be associated with any cat, I think. Any cat species. House cat, lion, leopard, panther, lynx. Okay. I think all of these are associated with Leo. Especially the big cats. Astrologically, in my mind, there's no difference between the tiger, lion, all these, right? Does every corner of the globe have lions? No. Some continents, some places, all you have is the panther. That would be your lion. And traditionally, lion's been used to describe many big cats. And again, there's so much phonetics and etymology I'd love to talk about, but we're going to try and focus on the animals. Leo is the same root as lion. Also leopard. A lot of people forget about that. Lynx, you also see the li root. And there's more. But, so basically, and feline. Feline, right? Leo rules the heart, the lion's heart of a lion. Coeur de Lion in French or Spanish. Corazon de Leon, the heart of a lion. Many, many languages. This expression is true. Feline is where we get roots like felicity, right? Like happiness, pretty much, or kind of warmth, you could say. Charisma, a little bit, but felicity, feline. And Leo ruling the heart, feelings, feline. Cancer was just one sign before, and Cancer's motto is I feel. Feline, feel, Cancer, lion, Leo. But what else? Anything you want to say about?
Yeah, so a group of lions is called a pride, and pride is probably the single attribute most associated with Leos, right? They have excessive pride sometimes. So, a group of lions is called a pride. And also the sun rules gold, the sun rules Leo, solo. Nothing else is associated with Leo. There are no other exaltations. There's nothing else going on in Leo besides the sun, because the sun is so dominant. Just like a lion is the king of the jungle, the sun is the emperor, the king of the sky completely. And the sun rules gold. So, again, the sun rules the heart, sun rules gold. Somebody has a heart of gold. You don't want a heart of lead or a heart of bronze or a heart of tin. You want a heart of gold. That's the most ideal form of Leo. So there's all that too, yeah. And then the glyph, if you want to talk about that, or we could talk about that. But the glyph is Leos, like Longo says all the time, Leos are known for their hair. And even just like in the glyph, like you can see the lion's mane, like you have the circle, which represents the sun, right? That's spirit. Every time you see a circle in astrology, guys, the circle represents spirit. The sun is a circle, and then you have a beautiful lion's mane coming right down the glyph. So the glyph looks like a lion very much.
What's the famous painting of, is it of the model with like the hair going back?
Fabio?
We sell this. No, it's not Fabio. It's a woman. It's Aubrey Hepburn.
Aubrey Hepburn, she's Taurus completely.
One sec. Might be Aubrey Hepburn. There's a famous cover of a book. It's a photographer who had a famous actress from the 50s or 60s or whatever. And it's her hair. It's like her profile view and her hair like going back. It's like tit for tat the Leo glyph, where it's the head and then like the big hair poofing over the top and coming down the back. It's the Leo glyph. Perfect.
I'll try and find it real quick. But yeah, like before we move on to the next sign, which is Virgo, right? Multiple lions is called a pride of lions, and the pride comes before the fall. And Virgo, while Libra is cardinal fall, the true start of fall, Virgo is a mutable sign, therefore it's half summer, half fall. And the pride comes before the fall, and that's all in the phrasing, it's all in the animal, it's all in the symbolism. I cannot find what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Here, it's like this. This is not the photograph, but it's something like this. And I don't think it's a ponytail. I think it's more of like a hairspray look, but it's the Leo glyph perfectly. The circle is the head, the face, and the hair comes over the back. That's not the same picture, but it's like that. It's a photography book that Raquel Welch. Let's see if it's Raquel Welch. Someone said Raquel Welch. Oh, okay. I think you're on to it. I think it's
the one I pulled up.
That seems like it. Hang on, I'm not looking.
Oh, sure, no sweat.
Okay, now we're looking.
It looks a little bit Leo-ish.
No, it's a profile view. So from the side. But here I think I've got a good one. It's more like this hairstyle. It's like big hair like that, kind of like hairsprayed towards the back. Whatever. I don't know if it's her or not, but it's a famous like ponytail or like I don't know, I forget. But whatever. It looks just like the Leo glyph. And I don't know if anyone's done a video, but you could trace the Leo glyph perfectly. But yeah, Leo's the hair, like Merlin was saying. Lions known for their hair. I guess that's why lion is most emblematic of Leo, because it's the big cat that has the mane, right? It has the most solar attributes. Now, what Merlin was saying about pride, in the 7 deadly sins, sometimes pride and vanity would be swapped, and those can be big differences, big difference in meanings, right? Depending on how you use them or when you use them. Ego is not the same as pride. No, sorry, vanity is not the same as pride. Another word that gets kind of synonymized with pride is ego. Now that makes a little bit more sense to me because pride is a fieriness. Ego is fiery. Egg, ek. Remember we were saying like Ignatius, eccentric. Ek words can be fiery. Ego's burning, fiery, right? Vanity's more Venusian. Vanity's more, yeah. But okay, so it's a good point about the pride you were saying.
I would say vanity is more of like a Libra thing, personally, because it's more Venusian, and it's like you don't judge yourself maybe as harshly as you should or could otherwise. It's an imbalance of judgment of the self, and that's more of a vain thing. And even real quick, going back to the Venus chariot for just a second, look at the Venus chariot. Like on the back of the Venus chariot, she literally has a mirror, just completely symbolizing vanity, in my humble opinion. With that, so like right there, a little mirror behind her.
Totally. So we're on Leo. Leo's the cat. It's the big cat, lion. Yeah, that's it. Let's move on. Next, we got Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign. Generally depicted as the virgin or the maiden or the what else would you say? Yeah, virgin, maiden. The glyph, however, is a letter M with a fishtail. With a fishtail, or like an extra leg on the M. And it forms like a cross or like a ribbon that you would see in the Vesica Pisces, the ichthys symbol. Now, why is that important? Because Virgo is directly opposite Pisces, whose one of its symbols is that fish. So in the glyph, you see a connection with Pisces. But the glyph is M, maybe for maiden or midway. Okay, M. I've got a good one on the M's and why Virgo and Scorpio have the M's. Okay, I've got a couple theories, but topic for another time.
That's one. I saw a short that talking about Mario again. I saw a short that Mario did that knocked out of the park with the two M's in Virgo and Scorpio.
Oh, really?
But I don't want to steal his content, but yeah, it's like it goes back to like
you can mention his stuff. He mentioned some of my stuff. It's okay.
Yeah, so I think it was something like Libra and Scorpio used to kind of be one constellation, and like on each side of the scales is like a different claw of the Scorpion, essentially. So one's the claw of life, one's the claw of death, and Virgo is more of the claw of life or something like that. So it's just like why those symbols are so similar, and like one's on the positive side of balance, the summer side, and then one's on the fall side of the scales.
Yeah. Also, Libra being like the most vilified mythologically, it would make sense to almost like leave it out of the zodiac. Like if that's Lucifer in the zodiac, just leave him out. Just make Virgo and Scorpio one big sign. Here's my thing. Okay, recently developed this. What's the M that connects Virgo and Scorpio and Pisces? With you see this little fish there? Empath. Empathy. M. It's that M. That root M in empath is the M we're looking at in the glyph for Scorpio and Virgo. Now, when people think of empathy, they might not immediately think of Scorpio, but Scorpios make great intuitives, scryers, readers. They can go deep, like psychic readers, things like that. And empathy is a big part of that. Now, Pisces are the biggest empaths. Virgos also make pretty good empaths because they share an axis with Virgo, Pisces. They're on the same same axis. So, the glyph is the M with the fish. The animal is human, Virgo, the virgin, or the maiden. Now, also, proposed animals for Virgo, the bear and the deer, especially the doe for Virgo. Why is that? Well, Virgo, you can stretch veer into beer into bear. Veer, beer, bear, Virgo. Virgo and the bear. Bears are hermits. Virgo is a sign that rules hermits with an I and hermetics with an E. The bear, removes himself from society or, from the world, goes into the cave, retreats into the cave, and, alchemizes. It shuts off its body, or shuts off its mind, and starts alchemizing within the body. Like the hermit, like the wizard in his cave, okay? Turning the blood into fuel, right? Turning the fat into fuel, and, right, there's all these internal processes going on in the bear's body while it's hibernating, while it's in this hermetic act. Virgo rules alchemy and hermeticism. And hermeticism, being a hermit, being a hermetic. They say, oh, there's no connection whatsoever between hermit and hermetic. Oh, really? You can fucking blow me, okay? Because we all know there's a connection between those, hermit and hermetic. So
the connection is so obviously strong. I mean, the hermit's always holding a staff. That could easily be the caduceus staff of Hermes. He's bringing light, just like, who is that Greek god who brings the light, the fire to Prometheus, right? So Hermes is Prometheus, is Mercury. So he brings the light, the fire, the intellect to humanity. It's completely hermetic, the hermit card. There's this insanely strong connections. And then the old hermit cards, if you see this one on the left, they looked more mercurial than the newer hermit cards you see in most decks now. So it's definitely been changed a bunch. They're trying to, the Illuminati is trying to hide Hermes essentially.
Mm-hmm. Now, apparently in some Native American zodiac systems, Virgo was the bear. The time of year associated with Virgo, the time of year that is Virgo, was associated with the bear. So, again, it's not like a explicit connection, but it's worth mentioning. The bear and Virgo, also the deer. What is there to say about deer? Not much. Doesn't matter.
Well, Game of Thrones reference. In Game of Thrones, there's like several chapters in one of the books, and it's a few, maybe like one episode of and then it's called The Bear and the Maiden Fair. And it's again like it goes back to this story about how this maiden shacked up with a bear, and then it also goes back to like how this shows up in today too, because like were you aware of that question that like people got asked on social media long ago, like when women are like, oh, would you rather be stuck in the woods with a bear or with a man? And like so many chicks were like, oh, I'll choose the bear. So like these connections, like you're saying, they reverberate like through in media, in what we're doing today, all over the place.
Good comment here. To bear, burden, Virgo, worker, right? Worker. Work. Virgo is worker with a German accent. Virgo. Virgo, right? Worker, Virgo. To bear. to take on a burden, right? Very Virgo coded. And you see, yeah. Bear. I don't know.
And if you lose your virginity inappropriately, that's your cross to bear forever. You know, like that's the verge. Like once you lose your virginity, once you lose your innocence, you could never get it back. It's gone forever. So it's a big decision. And if you do it wrong, you've got to bear that for the rest of your time here.
Shall ya? Moving on, we've got Libra. So Libra is the scales, but oftentimes it is a woman holding the scales. Lady Liberty, Lady Justice. She has a third name. Lady Liberty, Lady Justice. There's one more. But Libra, usually just the signs though. Or sorry, the scales. So what's interesting is the glyph is kind of the scales, kind of not. What I see in the glyph is the setting sun. You guys see that? The setting sun. Set. Libra rules the evening. Evening of the day is when the darkness comes and becomes even with the light. Takes over half the day. The sun is setting there, down onto the horizon. Aries is the sunrise. Libra is the sunset. So you see the disk, the sun disk setting over a flat horizon. You could also look at it as like scales, you know, like there's a bar in the middle, and that top bar is balancing over a vertical bar, and those two arms on either side, you could almost drop something onto them and it would tilt, right? You guys see that? Kind of. You could make out the scales in the glyph of Libra. The glyph is on the right, and to me it's easier to see as a setting sun, especially how it looks today. But Libra is traditionally, a lot of times, it's Lady Justice or a female holding the scales. Blind Justice sometimes. And yeah.
Esperanza Vents commented, and this is true, it looks like the Omega symbol setting too. Like there's a little bit of that too. And the Omega is the, you know,
Right.
the Alpha and the Omega. It's the end of the day.
Right, yeah. Good point. Omega could be Pisces. It could also be Libra, like Merlin's saying. You know, it could be the sun coming to an end, sleeping or going away for the night. But yeah, Libra. So what animals can be associated with Libra? Well, let's talk about that. I love to talk about this stuff. I think every zodiac sign has a non-human animal that's like objective, or at least true to the places people live around the world, right? So not everyone's going to have bulls. Not everyone's going to have lions or big cats. Not everyone's going to have crabs where they live. So sometimes the zodiac's tweaked a little bit, and that's okay. But with Libra, there are two animals who rise up above the rest. And Aleister Crowley, who is a Libra, who's one of my favorite astrologers, say what you want about the guy, he was one of Earth's greatest astrologers when he was alive. In his day, he was one of the best. His writings on astrology are you know, they're invaluable. They are, yep, general principles of astrology. We sell that at the bookstore too. Great book. And I learned a lot about astrology from him. Ooh, don't you know he banged some dude to death in the desert? Yeah, so did like half of my favorite musicians. Okay, does that mean that? Okay? Are we going to throw out Jimmy Page, Mick Jagger, and all these people because they hooked up with 14-year-olds or whatever? Sure. You know, I wouldn't say you're a bad person for having strong convictions like that. But if they've got something to teach, to offer, whatever, get over it. And by the way, Aleister Crowley was harmless. He's nowhere near as bad as anyone thinks he is. He never sacrificed a child. He joked about it. He trolled people. He's still laughing to this day by how many people he trolled. He's one of the world's greatest trolls. And he was a great astrologer. So shut the hell up. I already know people are going to say, Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley was a Libra. So when we're speaking about Libra, let's take it from a Libra, right? Aleister Crowley, one of the most famous things he ever said was, love is the law, love under will, right? People love to talk about that. Love and law. That's Libra. That's Libra. It's like Andrew Tate having the horse head behind him when he says all this outrageous, misogynistic stuff. Sagittarius. Then you look at Crowley. He's most well known for saying, love is the law. What else is another famous saying of his? There is love and there is love. I think it's the same instance that he's talking about love and the law.
I thought he said love above all as well.
Yeah, love is the law. Love under will. What was that part you added?
Love above all.
Yeah, I'm sure he said that too. But another thing he says, which brings us to the animals, is like, what type of love are we talking about? He makes the distinction. There is love and there is love. There is the serpent and there is the dove. Love and love, serpent and the dove. In Libra, you find the Luciferian serpent in the garden archetype. That's the snake coiled around the tree. That's the caduceus right next to Virgo, right? Right. That's the medicine cusp, I guess you could say, between Virgo and Libra. You have that staff, right? That bar. Libra is like the horizontal bar. Virgo is like the vertical bar. Vertical, Virgo, right? Something there. With love and love, the serpent and the dove. Crowley's saying the love he's talking about isn't necessarily the romance love everyone else is talking about. His love is like the union of opposite forces or divine forces or cosmic forces, right? The creative act expressed through many, many ways. But the love, the first love, this gets to the heart of Venus and Saturn and both, presiding over Libra. You have love and law, but there's two types of love too, the serpent and the dove. So with Libra, I think we should see the two most well-proposed animals, the serpent or the viper and the dove. The dove rules love, conventional love, peace, deliberation, right? That's why you release doves. White doves symbolize peace too. That's deliberation, Libra. Balance, right? Making a treaty. Then you look at the serpent. That's Lucifer in the garden, the light bringer. Libra is the light bringer too. It's the false light though, not the true light. It is false light, fall time. But again, it's easy not to what do they call that? Like mental masturbation. It's hard not to mental masturbate on all these guys, but let's try and go ahead.
The connections are there, and like look at the two planets that are active in Libra. You got Venus and you got Saturn. So Venus rules love, and so like Crowley says, love above law. And I think Saturn is why this sign specifically is all about law. Because if you walk into a courtroom, you've got your judge, aka your priest, in black robes. You know, black is the color of Saturn. So I'd say that Saturn rules law. And also, you know, Saturn is said to be the leader of the other planets. They all obey him. So if they obey him, then he sets the law and he exalts in this sign of balance. So, you know, Venus is definitely the beauty side of Libra, because again, Libra is all about symmetry and beauty. And again, what's more beautiful than a sunset, like the sunrise, right? So the two most beautiful times to look at the sun are the sunset and the sunrise. So you've got beauty in nature when it comes to this time of day and this sign. But then it's law too. That's Saturn. You know, Saturn's like, hey man, the night man cometh. You know, no matter what, the night man cometh. So whether you like it or not, that sun is going to set. Sure, he's going to rise the next day, but for now, it's time for nighttime, and that's Saturnian. That's the law. That's God's law, and that's just the way it has to be.
Yeah. So Libra is perhaps the serpent and the dove, alternative animals, but Lady Justice with the scales. And we talked about the glyph. Now, Scorpio. Scorpio's animal. There's a couple animals. People love to talk about this. Scorpio, of course, it can be the scorpion, but the totemic animal of Scorpio is not the scorpion. It is the eagle or the hawk or the raptor. Sometimes people say owl. I don't think owl, but the raptor, especially the fast ones. Falcon, hawk, eagle. You know, how can we link these to Scorpio, right? Scorpio rules sex and death. Hawk, Tua. Eagle, to be eager, right? It's like you're desperate, eager, right? Desperation, eagerness, very Scorpio. Eagle also, that burning root, that Ignatius root word, Yggdrasil, all these egg words. But that brings us to the phoenix, because what's a phoenix other than a fiery raptor? There's 3 generally proposed animals for Scorpio. There is the scorpion, there is the raptor, hawk, eagle, or falcon, and then the last one is the phoenix. The phoenix. Now, a lot of people like to talk about the 3 progressions of Scorpio, like Scorpios start as a scorpion, they evolve to an eagle, then they molt into a phoenix, right? Full transformation. But yeah. So anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, Scorpio rules the genitals and you know, the generative function. So when it comes to that, right, like each one of those 3 animals represents a different part of that function. Like if you misuse your genitals, you're a degenerate. You know, that's a lot of what you see today with modern culture. Look at like most modern rap. You know, Uncle Al would love to talk to you about that, right? If you have a family, you can generate. So you can be a degenerate if you're wasting your reproductive functions. You can generate if you're making a family. And then finally, if you rise above your sexual urges, you can allegedly regenerate. And that goes back to like, you know, raising the chrism, you know, Christ consciousness, the Christos oil, however you want to look at it. But that's like, again, and those are the 3 different forms of the word generate. And that's all about Scorpio and the genitals. So, I mean, yeah, that pretty much covers it. Oh, and then a group of scorpions is called a bed of scorpions. So that's interesting.
Ooh, nice.
Bed of scorpions.
Right. Scorpions, why is Scorpio associated with the scorpion? Well, Scorpio has themes of vengeance and backstabbing. And the scorpion is the only animal that can stab you in the back while looking you in the eye. And in fact, they can stab themselves in the back, scorpions. They are known to kill themselves, commit suicide.
Yep.
Scorpions are also visible under UV light. Like they glow. They have, ultraviolet light. They shine bright. Some, if not all, scorpions. And that's very Scorpio coded. Nighttime. It's like they had night vision, scorpions, right? Scorpios. They love to be out at night. They like darkness. They can peer into the darkness more easily. But yeah, and then the hawk, the eagle, the raptor, they're fast, deadly, diligent. They are focused, laser focused, right? And penetration, the talon. Scorpio is the most talented sign because it has talons. But yeah, what else? Anything?
The glyph. I mean, just the glyph is once again that M.
Right.
And it looks like, oh, look at that, we got a stinger. So that's the scorpion stinger that again goes back to the genitals. And it's depending on how you use it. I think it goes back to Virgo too, because again, like think about that, like Virgo and Scorpio both have to do with sex. And I think you're familiar with this book. Santos definitely is. It's called The Esoteric Structure of the Alphabet by Alvin Boyd Kuhn. And he mentions that the letter U is shaped that way because the letter U symbolizes the descension of spirit down into matter and then up again into spirit, which is our journey. And that's why words like up, have a U. You want to go up, So like the letter M is up and down. So it's really both ways. It really symbolizes how there are different ways to use your sexual function. And it's up to you and your free will whether or not you want to attempt to overcome your animal instincts, or do you succumb to your earthly passions? Again, Virgo is the earth sign.
Do you overcome or do you succumb?
Oh, dude, look at that.
Yeah, succeed. But well, here, let's move on to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, like we said earlier, generally it's the centaur with the bow. Sometimes it's just the horse. Sometimes it's the centaur with elements of the scorpion included into it. But you mainly see the horse elements and the archery elements. The archery you see in the glyph. The glyph is the arrow. It's the arrow. You could say it's similar to the martial symbol like we were showing earlier, the barb. But this is the projectile or the missile or the arrow of Sagittarius. The animal is the horse. And when we look at alternative animals, well, first, horses. What does Sagittarius rule? Travel, long distance, journeys, expansion, open pasture, not being constricted, not being walled in or tied down. Right. So Sagittarius, I'm a Sagittarius. I lived in my van for 4 years. And a lot of Sagittarius are nomadic, right? Or they love to travel or whatever. Now, Jupiter is the most expansive planet, so that makes sense. But with Sagittarius being the horse goes very far. If you were traveling in the ancient world, you pretty much needed a horse to get there, or a boat, but horses. And then the archer, the arrow, what do arrows and horses have in common? Well, they see their way to the end, right? They follow the trajectory, right? They, yeah, don't want to stretch that too much, but long distance pursuits, basically, goals,
Yeah.
aiming. The horse is something you use to get from point A to point B. The arrow travels from point A to point B. Yeah. Horse is also horse. You see words like horse, like horoscope, Horus, the god, Egyptian god, sun god, horizon, horary, horse, right? Sagittarius is often have horse, horse voices or coarse voices, especially some of the women, Sagittarius women. But like Miley Cyrus, hey, hell yeah, very gravelly, horse voice. And if you act like a whore, whores have hoarse voices almost always. They either do the like unrealistic baby voice, or they do like
Vocal fry.
I don't know. It's more just whatever. The horse is Sagittarius. You want to talk about some of the other names for horse?
Like caballo.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not sure what connection to make there, honestly. This horse in Spanish is caballo. Hippopotamus is a water horse. I think is the genus for horse is like hippo something, isn't it? Horse.
Yeah, hippo means
Genius.
horse. Oh, the genius of hippos? I don't know. But hippo means horse in
Oh, equestrian.
Equus, yeah.
Or equus, yeah. So
Yeah, ek is where you get all these Sagittarius words like excellent, eccentric, ecstatic, things like that. Very Sagittarius coded. Ek is Jupiter is ek, actually. It's oak. Ek, Ukko. The Finnish name for Jupiter is Ukko. But okay. The animal being the horse, also the centaur. You get words like centaur of the universe, center, the bullseye, centaur of the universe. The Milky Way is in Sagittarius, and the Milky Way, they say, is the center of our solar system, not our solar system, our galaxy. Is that right?
the Milky Way is allegedly the galaxy we live in, but really it's just a band of stars that actually stretches from like Scorpio to Gemini, and hits the north as well. It goes as far north as Polaris.
Yeah. Now,
But,
hippo is another Sagittarius word, and it means horse. Another word for horse. People think of hippo and they think of hippopotamus. Hippopotamus means horse of the river horse or water horse. Potami is the Greek root for water or like river, flowing water. Potable, right? If water's potable or you put it in a pot, that's same root. Potamus. Hippopotamus. Horse, river. Hippo can mean hypo or hyper. It can mean inflate, to increase in size or to decrease in size. Or overactive or underactive, right? Hyper hippo. Now also, Sagittarius rules the hips. Hippo, hippie. Hippies are like the wanderers, the nomads, the Sagittarians. Hippies, Aquarius and Sagittarius are the two signs most likely to be a hippie. Like, see ya, Dad. See ya, Mom. See ya in 20 years. I'm going to go, like backpack across, you name it.
Go follow the Grateful Dead.
Right. Now, hippos are also pretty Sagittarian. They're big, they're fat, they're dangerous. Horses and hippos kill I think, the most people of mammals, if I'm not mistaken. Horses, it's like more than dogs, I think. And if you include warfare, it's not even close. If you include all the wars there's ever been, how many horses have killed people? Sagittarius is, horses are ruthless. And I don't know if any other animal engages in warfare to the degree that horses have always done. Maybe some birds here and there, like some attack dogs here and there, but horses are an instrument of war. They rush headfirst into, danger. So,
someone in chat said this is great too, right? Sagittarius is all about the truth, right? It's very truth oriented sign. Like that's the target that you want to hit is the truth. You aim for the truth. And someone said the hips don't lie. And that's literally like a very, common expression, all that sort of thing. So that's fantastic.
How'd I never notice that?
Yeah.
That's a great one. Yeah, that's really good. Hippie, hipster, all these hip words. Sagittarius. And caballo, caballo, cabal, Kabbalah, cable, right? Cable TV. What's the common thread there? Well, the tree of life, if you look at it a certain way, looks like the head of a horse. Looks like you're looking at a horse, dead on. Let's go look at it.
Yeah, and the Kabbalah is, again, that higher learning that's very much associated with Sagittarius.
Yeah. The tree of life looks like a horse. It looks like a horse from the top, from a bird's eye view and front view. Let me show you. I'm going to show you how. Do you see how this is a horse? Looking at it from the front, you have the mouth at the bottom and the ears at the top and the crest of the head at the tippy top. You see that?
Yeah.
Then if you're looking at a bird's eye view, like from above, the head of the horse.
That's what I saw. That's what I saw primarily was the head of the horse at the bottom, the bird's eye view. I think we just lost Longo for a second, guys. But yeah. Oh, there we go. So yeah. That's what I saw first, man, was the bird's eye view. Because you're like, oh, it's a horse there. I was like, okay, yeah, I see that, from the bottom. But again, why the long face? That's the it looked like it,
Dude, you have no idea how many times people say that to me. Why the long face? Hey, smile, man. Like, I'm not frowning. I just have a long face, I guess, or like, yeah. But if we look at the tree of life, the bird's eye view, it's almost like the skinny part is the neck of the neck and head. So here, look at this.
Someone said Longo face.
Why the Longo face? Yeah, good point. So this is the horse from the bird's eye view. The butt is at the top. You see the butt and the tail at the top, and the big thighs and the big shoulders. And then that skinny part at the bottom is the neck and the head. You see that?
Yeah.
So you get a front on perspective and you get a bird's eye perspective of the horse in the tree of life. The Kabbalah. How many Sephiroth are there? How many? 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, in Sagittarius, Sen. Sen is 10. Centarian. Centaur. Or what is it, 100? It can mean 10 or 100.
Yeah, it's a few different ways. 10's a sense. It's like 100, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sen, you have centurion. You have, apparently Sagittarius rules politics too, and senator, right? Centaur, senator, centenarian, right? And 10, from 9 to 10, that's the cusp between Sagittarius and Capricorn. And 10, December, which is Sagittarius and Capricorn, is the 10th month. So 10, 10, 10. Go ahead.
Dude, so I was gonna say on my screen, like this is a quick tarot reference, but the card for Sagittarius is Temperance, and that goes back to the Tree of Life, because in the Tree of Life you've got your two pillars, you've got severity and you've got mercy, and you must temper those two things and reach that again, that balance needed. And that's why, again, Sagittarius is a mutable sign. It could be overstimulated or understimulated, it could be too severe or too merciful, and you truly hit that wisdom. And it's ruled by Jupiter, right? And Jupiter is associated with benevolence, but mostly it's associated with wisdom. And Sagittarius, I would say, as much as Pisces, is a sign that really strives for wisdom and understanding the Kabbalah and understanding when to wield mercy and when to wield severity is true wisdom.
This is a cool comment. The oldest book in continual publication in the world is Peri Hippos on Horsemanship, which has been in constant print for over 2,400 years. Wow. Moving on, let's go to Capricorn. Capricorn is the goat. Now, it's a little bit of a dispute, or kind of sometimes confusing, because it is the sea goat, the water goat, half like mermaid, half goat. Now, that's interesting. But Capricorn is the goat. So you could just have the goat by itself, and that's fine. But if you just had the sea monster, no one would know what you're talking about. If you only had the mermaid legs, no one would know that's Capricorn. The goat is emblematic of Capricorn. Now, the aquatic nature of it, again, that'd be a good one to talk to Mario about. But go ahead.
Well, Mars, Mar is how you say sea in Spanish, and it's Capricornus is the sea goat. So
Right.
It really does. The goat has the ability to climb from the shore, from the liminal space between water and earth, the shore, all the way up the mountain. That's what the goat is meant to do. It's meant to climb up that mountain. And if you ever played Dark Souls has a boss.
Nope. I am interested in women.
Oh,
Not a virgin, so I don't play Dark Souls.
So all the Chads play Skyrim then? That's how you get laid?
Yeah.
But Dark Souls has a boss called the Cabra Demon, or the Capra Demon, and it's a demonic goat, and it's literally a Capricorn, incarnate as a very evil Capricorn.
Right. And like Merlin was saying, the Mars connection is because Mars exalts in Capricorn. So Mars, the sea, right? This goat is also suited for the ocean.
Yeah.
But the goat is the climber. So why is the goat associated with Capricorn? Because it climbs. It's the greatest of all time. It's the most high. Goat is the same phonetic root as God. God is goat. Goat is God. Okay. Goat is the greatest of all time. The most high. The animal which literally sprints to the top of a mountain and makes things look easy. Also, like the bull, the goat can nourish many, many, many species. Goat's milk is like a universal mammal milk. It is how would you say this? Goats are almost like the mother to many other species. Then you see a lot of god symbolism with the goat. Also, well, what else? What do you want to say about the goat?
So I mean, someone mentioned macabre in that, and again, like that really goes back to the Cabra. You know, it's a very dark sign. You know, the tarot card associated with Capricorn is the devil.
Right.
You got scapegoat. You know, Capricorn is associated with sin. You know, they often take on the sins of others, or get, you know, they're the black sheep. They're the outcast, big time. But yeah, you know, I think you've mentioned in the past that Capricorn rules humor, specifically dark humor, you know, like sardonic remarks, you know, macabre humor, dark humor, satire, exactly.
Saturn.
Yep, Saturn, all that good stuff. So yeah, it's just all very Capricornian.
Yep. Yeah, the goat. All right, moving on to Aquarius. Aquarius is the water bearer. The glyph for Capricorn. We didn't really talk about that. The glyph for Capricorn is kind of a goat, kind of a sea goat, right? You see like the goat standing on one leg or two legs on the left, top left there. Then you see like the serpentine aquatic tail kind of like coiling down at the bottom right. That's one way to look at it. Some people, there's another glyph for Capricorn. So Capricorn has two popular glyphs. They're both kind of hard to see what's going on. But yeah.
Yeah.
Aquarius, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I mean, it's like this looks a lot like this right here is very similar to the Aries glyph.
Right.
And Capricorn and Aries are the two times in the year where the sun is reborn, right? It's like at its lowest point in Capricorn, and then it crosses the equator in Aries. So that part is similar, but then yeah, like Longo was saying, like this part down here, that's like the sea goat aspect of Capricorn. That's all I would add to that. Let's hit up Aquarius.
The animal for Aquarius is humanoid. Water bearer, sometimes a woman, sometimes a man, sometimes androgynous, sometimes an angel. Sometimes Aquarius is just an angel with no water. That's, you know, in the cherubim, like the biblical rendition of the four fixed signs of the Zodiac, you have Taurus, the golden bull, Leo, the golden lion, Scorpio, the golden hawk or eagle, and then Aquarius, who's not the water bearer in that instance, but he, they, since Aquarius is gender neutral, they are the, I forgot what I was going to say. What was I saying?
The eagle, they are the...
Oh yeah, it's the angel. It's the golden angel, or the cherub, the little boy, like Cupid. But it should be a woman. I think it should be a woman water bearer. Maybe a man. I don't. It doesn't matter. I shouldn't have said should. Aquarius, the human. I have also heard it proposed that Aquarius is the monkey, the most humanoid of the animals. You ever heard of that, Merlin?
No, I've not actually.
Let's see if we got any results with this.
Sure. The water that Aquarius bears too is again like, and it's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn rules law. So Aquarius is like Libra. Like Libra is an air sign that's all about judgment. Aquarius is about judgment too, and that's why even you see here on the star card there are two different urns that the woman is pouring, and you have wrath and condemnation, or you have blessing and reward, depending on which you've earned from Saturn. And again, look at that, like which you've earned. It's pouring the water out of an urn, so you get what you earn, and Saturn is the judge of all of that.
Yep. Uranus being the rain, to the word rain. You get urn in Saturn, but also rain in Uranus.
Yeah, and even Uranus is like Uranus if you like skip one of those vowels.
Right. And urine,
Yeah.
water falling from above.
Yeah.
And the glyph for Aquarius is the flow. It's either a heat wave or it's the flowing of like the ripple of an ocean, water ripple. So yeah, either like flowing air or flowing water. Dude, it's so crazy. We've been doing this happened like twice. We jumped from 250 viewers to 400 viewers.
Really?
Yeah, multiple times.
Hmm.
But we got 400 people in the chat across multiple platforms. Thank you to everyone who's here. That's a great turnout. And yeah, Aquarius, the humanoid, the angel, the cherub. Why is it often the angel? Well, Aquarius is like gender neutral. And there's a couple reasons. You know, we can explain that in another episode, but angels are often androgynous. They're not explicitly male or female. Not always. Typically not. So that's one reason. Uranus is also the quirky, weird, queer planet. But yeah, okay. So humanoid, and then a proposed or alternative animal for Aquarius could be the monkey, because they're very humanoid. And smart, you know, like the smartest of the animals. But
yeah, they are for sure.
All right, moving on to Pisces.
The fishes.
Pisces is the fish. It's official, guys. The fish is the last sign. When something is over, when it's about to be done, you say, all right, it's official, you know? And now it's official. It's all said and done. That's the end of the zodiac. Oh, official. Financial. Another one. From the fins of the fish. Aquarius is very sweet, tender, loving, selfless people. Sometimes they can be pussies. And sometimes they have a wet fish handshake. Floppy fish. Just disappointing handshake. Not all of them, but it happens. And we call that a wet fish. Sometimes Pisces have wet feet. Pisces rules the feet. The feet are kind of like two fish, right? When you look down at the two fish, you can kind of see 2 feet standing side by side, similar to the 69 with the crab. But yeah, fish, what can we say about them? Pisces often look like fish too. You know, they have
Oh yeah. And like you mentioned this before, you know, if you have your Mercury in Pisces, Pisces is the fall of Mercury, and there's often a speech impediment. You know, Piscean people, there's just a natural tendency to be a bit wishy-washy. You can really hear Pisces in the voice more than any other sign, because it's often they're just like a little bit, you know, reluctant to speak clearly. And again, that goes back to the waters associated with Pisces. And like Longo said, you know, Pisces is cold feet. So that's, again, like if Pisces are a bit pushover pacifist pussies, you know, that goes back to cold feet. And there are so many linguistic connections, because to say fishes in Spanish is peces, or pescado for singular fish. And then your feet, I think in Italian, are piedes, piede, you know, a foot doctor is a podiatrist. So it's all, and again, you pedal with your feet. that look like fish, but I guess we'll stick to the animals.
Well,
What's interesting about the two Pisces fish is like, and this goes back to the glyph too, is like the two fish in Pisces. One is traveling north, and one is traveling south. So that's like, again, when you hit the end of the road, the finale, it's your choice. There's a fork in the road. Do you go north or do you go south? And again, as we've pointed out before, north is an anagram for throne. So it's like, do you go toward God or away from God? Do you follow the right hand path or the left hand path? And that is the Piscean decision to make. And again, we all have Pisces somewhere in our chart, so we all have to make that decision eventually.
100%. With the fish, you also see the ichthys symbol is such an important part of Pisces and the Jesus story and all this and that. But the symbol of Pisces, the glyph, you can see kind of two fish, right? Kind of like swimming up alongside each other, like two koi fish, kind of, spreading out, maybe being tied together. Maybe they've been caught and they're kind of like tied on a string too. But what else do we see in the Pisces symbol? You see the becoming of a Vesica Pisces. Do you see that, Merlin? How like it's two circles coming in, like almost like
bring them together,
about to eclipse, yeah. And it hasn't quite happened yet. So that's the Pisces glyph. You see two fish, perhaps. You also see the Vesica Pisces and the ichthys symbol being linked to that. So,
and Venus exalts in Pisces, and while February 14th is Valentine's Day, that's in Aquarius, it kind of heralds the coming of Venus. And this is just super interesting. Like, Marty Leeds goes into this big time. I'm not trying to steal his content, but like, in your hands, you have 14 phalanges in your hands. So there's, two, the phalanges are the part of your hands that, were like, whatever, not the joints, but the parts, right? So you've got 2 in your thumbs, 3 in each finger. You've got 14 phalanges in your hands. What do you do with somebody you love? And again, like, I think Pisces is the two fish. If you love somebody, you hold hands, and then you have 28 phalanges together, and that's why February has 28 days. And this is some stuff we can go into. We're gonna debunk the like we have already, but again, the 13 moon calendar is something Longo and I both just detest. But specifically when it comes to Pisces, Pisces, guys, 314 is in Pisces. That's the completion of the circle. And you will never understand the beauty of the Gregorian calendar unless you understand the secrets of Pi. It's super necessary. The 13 moon calendar is straight hot garbage. The Gregorian calendar is a reflection of God's beautiful, intelligent design. All of these numbers were chosen very carefully by people who were way, way more clued in than we are. My humble opinion with that.
Oh, that's great. That's interesting. We're gonna have to nerd out on some of the like numerology in another episode.
Yeah.
But guys, that's all 12 signs and the animals. We went through most of the glyphs. Now let's speed run the planets real quick, and then we'll hop off. Mercury.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Moon.
I mean, Mercury is the one I have. What I went from Mars to Venus to Mercury. Is that cool?
Yeah. Any order is fine.
Okay.
So this is Mercury.
This is Venus, but
This is Venus.
Yeah.
All right. So Venus. Venus is animal. There's a couple good candidates. Number one, it could just be the cow, like Taurus, right? That's a suitable candidate. But also Venus, man, You know, you could put the dove in there too. What animal symbolizes love, beauty, all that? Man, it's hard. I don't think I had one ready for Venus. What do you,
Some
what
I
do you
got in
think?
this list. We got the sparrow, the
Oh,
wood
okay.
pigeon, the nightingale, and then the turtle dove. So yeah,
Yeah, turtle dove or sparrow makes sense.
yeah. And
Go ahead.
yeah, you can see here, guys, like down, like again, like down here and all for all these planets, you'll see people doing things associated with these planets. So you'll see like lovers, going for a stroll. People. You'll see things regarding the law down there. All these things associated with Venus because of Libra and Taurus.
Yeah.
And then the chariot behind her, she's got a mirror symbolizing the vanity of someone who's maybe too beautiful.
Right. So Venus, I guess it's kind of hard to choose one animal. But here I've got one. The pig. The boar and the pig. Freya has a pet boar. Magical fighting pig. Freya is Venus in the Norse or Germanic pantheon. And the pig, Venus is very indulgent. So as much as Venus rules love and beauty, it's also indulgence. What do they say about putting makeup on a pig? That's pretty Venus coded, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll believe that when pigs fly, stuff like that. But it could be the pig. That would probably be Venus in a negative light. But Mars. Let's go. Let's try and go a little faster. Mars.
Right.
No worries. Mars is like the wolf. Things that are spiky, like maybe hedgehog, porcupine, things that are barbed, spiky, could all be ruled by Mars. Sometimes people put fox. I don't see that. Fox is more mercurial to me, but it's red, so red animals sometimes can be fiery, martial. What do you think about Mars and animals?
Mars rules roosters.
There you
eventually
go.
We're gonna cover Shakespeare, guys, and dude, the rooster heralds the morn. Aries heralds the morn. It's the first sign, so that it rules 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. That's when the cock crows. And again, Aries can be a bit horny. The cock crows, you wake up with the whatever. And then also vultures. Mars rules vultures, and that's more scorpionic. After the field of battle has been littered with corpses, the vultures may come out and pick the remains. Extremely scorpionic, very martial.
Yeah, I like the rooster. I think that's probably the most definitive because they are used for war. They fight, they battle.
Yeah, they can be ornery fucks for sure.
Now, Mercury could be the fox, could be the raven, could be any, bird, especially talking birds. I like the fox because it's like thieves, like thievery, mischief, being silent, also very talkative. Foxes can also talk, very similar to humans. You guys know that? They can make cackling, laughing noises that are very human-like. Foxes are smart, conniving. So Mercury could be a small bird, could be like a wading bird, like an ibis, or it could be the fox. Moving on to Jupiter.
We had the song, What Did the Fox Say?
Could be the hippo. Usually the elephant over in the east. They'll say Jupiter's the elephant. It's the biggest planet, biggest land animal, most expansive, elegant, elephant, right? To elevate, to expand, to ascend. The elephant, very wise, like Jupiter.
Rules peacocks. And that's like
Yeah. Oh, Peacock too. Yeah, that's a good Jupiter planet. Or Jupiter animal. Peacock, elephant. Those are good ones. Yeah. Moving on.
The peacock is like a rainbow, and Jupiter rules rainbows.
Yeah. Now, what are we at?
Saturn, Sun, and Moon left.
Saturn, the donkey. The donkey. It is the restricted animal, the inhibited, the stunted animal. It is like the slave, the pack animal. But Saturn and the mule, you see words like mulek, malice, Moloch, yep, mule. Ass, right? Ass is not a necessarily, unless you're speaking Viking, right? Os or ass is pretty good, but otherwise, ass is a bad thing. Donkey, the down key, the low key, the dawn, right? The down key, the low key. That's low key. That's Saturn. Saturn can be the goat. Saturn could be like a hyena with its laugh, maybe. Saturn in Egyptian culture, I believe, was like an anteater or an aardvark. Aardvark, or some animal like that. Also, the crocodile. Crocodile, dial up your clock. Croc of shit. Crocodile, that's all very Saturn coded. Time.
Crocodiles lay in wait for their prey for a long time, and they live a long time. Very, very patient animals, just like Saturn, the most patient of planets.
Yep. So.
And then Saturn definitely rules snakes as well, just undeniably, because Satan tempts Eve as a snake in the Garden of Eden. So the snake symbolism is there as well. I think so, yeah, for sure.
Sun and moon. We went through the sun. Sometimes the rooster is also associated with the sun. Yeah. It's a bit of a solar thing with Aries too. Sun exalts in Aries. The sun, sometimes an eagle, sometimes a hawk, like in Egypt also, Horus. Also, what else is solar?
I mean, it rules the ram as well, because Mars or the sun exalts in Aries, so it does have dominion over the ram as much as Mars does, or even more so. And then what else? Yeah, I mean, the canary, allegedly, as far as birds go.
Yeah, I don't like any of those. The sun. Sun and the moon. All right, let's go to the moon. Turtles, tortoises. Turtles and tortoises. You have the lunar. I just caught myself. Not a lunar calendar, but what is commonly misunderstood to be a lunar calendar you find on the back of all tortoise and turtle shells. So that's pretty interesting. Right, the 13 times 28 thing, again, not lunar necessarily, but it's on the back of turtle and tortoise shells.
Yeah, and an important thing with that is it's not on the back of every turtle or tortoise shell, like some people think, like, oh, it's on the back of everyone. No, it's not. It's on the back of some of them. So again, that's just another debunk of the 13 moon calendar.
Well, it's on most of them. It's on most. There are rare instances where you can't make out any of the, I think they call them scuttles or scoots.
I'm not sure what they're called.
Scoot. Yeah, scoot. The scoots of the shell. On some turtle shells, you can't distinguish them at all. There's just like no lines or anything. But of all the ones that do have like lines and visible separations, almost all of them have the 1328 arrangement of the scoots. But yeah, some don't. Some just have a very smooth shell, or you can't see it at all. Now, that's not the lunar calendar, though. It's a real thing. It's the Enochian calendar. It's the Essenian calendar. It's the calendar recommended in the Book of Enoch and the Book of Jubilees. Interesting stuff. But, you know, we'll attempt to connect it to the moon as much as we can, but it's lacking in lunar connections. It's a big misconception, big psyop. The 364 is a lunar calendar. Man, did I not do my homework on that for a long time. And a lot of people, you know, misspeak and confuse that. But
dude, people get emotional over the lunar calendar because they think they fucking unlock the secret of the universe with that shit.
Right.
It's totally misleading. It's like
totally.
It's like you get all these videos like, oh, it's a psyop. You're being robbed. You should get another extra month of pay. And it's like, bro,
right?
No.
The extra month pay thing is hilarious. But they're like, look what they took from us. We used to be in infinite, perfect harmony with nature. With the lunar calendar, it's not even a lunar calendar. And you know, it drifts from the seasons. It's like the opposite of harmony, you know.
The number of days per month and where the holidays line up is so numerologically perfect on the Gregorian calendar. It's just that's why they did it. It's about the circle, and it really comes down to like understanding Pi and Pi Day, which we'll get into one time, but like if you understand that, you will never ever look at that 13-month calendar other than like truth or garbage. It's as garbage as like the bad Tartarian stuff is. It's on that level where it's so bad once you learn it. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah, I agree. Now, also real quick, people claim to see a rabbit in the moon's face, like the shadows of the moon. You see a rabbit, some people say. It's like fertility, you know, the rabbit also being fast. So we talked about the rabbit and the turtle. They might both be lunar. I mean, doesn't that make sense? The hare and the turtle both being lunar symbols. Or what about this? What if the turtle is the solar symbol? I mean, that flies in the face of everything people like to say. But
it could be either one because it's all about like perception. You know, because like it depends on like how you look at it, which one's faster. Because the sun is way slower.
Thanks, Lena Dunham, for that great insight. Just kidding.
But yeah, you know, this like it says, like the sun like looks faster, but it's not. You know, the moon is the fastest luminary.
Yeah,
but it goes faster by going slower than the fixed stars. That's what it really is. Like you need to understand the relationship between the fixed stars and how the planets and the luminaries move, and they progress through the zodiac by going slower than the fixed stars, because the planets, right, they go east, whereas the fixed stars go west. Like they all move east to west, but they make progress by ending up further east, so they literally have to go slower to make progress. And that's where the real turtle and the hare comes in. So it's like about understanding it from a geocentric perspective. That's why I was saying perspective, because if you look at it from a heliocentric perspective, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Then you would flip them around. But if you understand it from the geocentric perspective, then the moon has to be the turtle and the sun's the hare. But if you have no idea what you're standing on, then you would flip it around. That's the perspective I was talking about. That was that Lena Dunham shit right there.
So all right, guys, we got the rabbit with the moon. Blah, 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 blah. Pluto is the hound, I think. dog. Remember we said dog with the moon and Cancer, maybe? Well, I think the distinction here would be this would be like more of a hunting dog. Hound, hunt. Or it's a like cadaver dog. Pluto, like a dead body, drug dog, right? Sniffing out dead bodies or drugs or bombs. That's Plutonian. So there's a big dog connection with Pluto. Pluto, Snoopy, Goofy, Scooby, Courage, all these ooh dogs. Because there's more that I'm not remembering. But okay, guys, I'm falling asleep. I was up till 5:30 last night. Been working at the bookstore today. I'm pretty tired. I'm not going to do any outro music tonight. We're just going to wrap it up. Merlin, we plugged your stuff at the beginning, but would you like to plug anything or let people know where to find you?
No, it's all good. We'll see you again next week.
Shelly, guys, every Saturday, Casting Couch Astrology. 400 people in the chat. Appreciate you guys. Got some super chats here. Ryan Leonard with the $1.99. Wojo with the $5. Appreciate the compliments. All right, guys. Everyone have a good night. My birthday is tomorrow. Just a heads up. If just so you know. All right, guys. Good night.
Peace.